Hi, my name is Brenda Hale, and I'm doing this introduction for job searching. I am going to be talking about the skills that I have and the experience that I've had working in different areas in the job field. First of all, I'm currently working at Lowe's at the service desk, answering the phones, paging, transferring calls. I'm now training to do returns and refunds, as well as helping with internet orders and helping at the service desk. I've been there since April of this year, but it's part-time and I'm looking for something with a few more hours and more skills than what I'm using currently. My prior job was at TLC Nursing. I worked there for a year and a half as their administrative assistant / front desk receptionist. I answered the phone, I greeted people when they came through the door, whether it was the public or employees. I confirmed payroll for anyone that was submitting a timesheet. I would go in the computer and I would log in their hours and then send it over to payroll to be processed. Some of my job was also being a human resource assistant, which meant calling references, doing background checks, and also coordinating a weekly orientation for the LNAs and the PCAs and the nurses. I also did other miscellaneous things for TLC Nursing, working on databases and posting ads for Craigslist. Before that, I worked for Liberty Propane for a short time through Manpower, doing their filing and organizing their cabinet full of records and folders and creating folders, organizing folders, and then in between time I would help straighten up the office upstairs and take care of paperwork and boxes of books and different things. And I would also help the drivers by pulling tickets for the propane drivers, and I would have to sort them according to whatever region they were going to. Once I got done with that assignment, I went down to Blue Flame in Richmond, and I did the same thing there. The only thing I didn't do there was pull the tickets for the drivers, but I did the sorting of their paperwork, putting the files in correctly. Before that, I worked at Comcast for 5 years in a call center, and I started in video technical, and I also learned billing and sales. Found out my strength was in billing and sales, so the regions split, and I mainly focused on billing and a sales piece. It was a call center. There was a short time that I worked from home for about 6 months, what they call a VCAE, which is a virtual customer account executive too. I enjoyed working for Comcast. There was a lot of perks with it, as well as learning. Whatever call came in, I would be able to answer the question for the customer, whether it was a billing question about their services or their package, or I would transfer them to the appropriate department if they had an issue with, say, their cable box, or their internet wasn't working, or their phone wasn't working. I would also triage calls and make a determination as to whether I could fix the problem, or I would submit it on to a manager for discussion. Enjoyed working for Comcast a lot. I'm a people person, so that was really pretty cool. My past history as far as healthcare, I worked at CBA Blue for a short time, third-party administrators in their call center as well, discussing plans for employee benefits, submitting claims for processing, and doing pre-certs for different procedures. We would have doctors' offices and providers that would call. And they want to submit somebody for, say, like an MRI and needed a pre-authorization. So I would do the process of filling out the information so that could get approved by whatever department does that. I worked for Vermont Health Connect for a short time in the call center, actually when they did their launch in 2013. It was basically talking about the benefits for Green Mountain Healthcare, which is now part of Vermont Health Connect. It's a Medicaid piece. I would also talk about the different plans that they offered for the healthcare exchange. Blue Cross and MVP were the main providers for that. As far as healthcare experience, I was a nurse for 5 years. I worked in New Hampshire at different facilities, as well in California for a short time. I worked there for about a year, a couple of places, Valley Healthcare in San Bernardino and Knowles West in Victorville. I was an LPN there on second shift. I also worked in Vermont at Star Farm in Birchwood, and I mainly worked on the long-term care unit. My job was supervising the unit, overseeing the LNAs to make sure they were doing their job correctly, doing the med pass, documentation, treatments. Really enjoyed working with the elderly. It's one of my passions since I was 16. To go back a little bit further than that, I worked at Concord Hospital in New Hampshire for 10 years. I started in transport, and then I graduated to the message center. I covered there. I also worked at the switchboard, and that was mainly paging overhead, transferring calls, paging codes for like emergencies like code blue, code red, code strong. Also worked with Ring Medical, which is their answering service. So a doctor's office would close for lunch. Then we would take the calls and triage it and take messages or contact the doctor if need be. And I also worked with security there. I learned the mailroom and the print shop, and I also collated charts for medical records. So I was always doing something. I was kind of like the cover girl. I covered for breaks and vacations. Anytime they needed some help, they would call me. After that, I went to St. Joseph Hospital in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I worked in their outpatient clinic, which is basically data entry of people coming in for blood work, different x-rays like CAT scans, MRIs, echoes for the heart. And we also learned the registration piece to do pre-registrations for people coming in for elective surgery. As far as my background, I've talked quite a bit about my experience in different areas that I've worked at. I also have a home business. I've had it for 3 years. I make blankets, different sizes, from baby up to king size, which has been challenging. And I also make baby sets and shawls and scarves and different things. I've done a few craft shows, but they haven't done very well for me. But a lot of my business is selling online. I use Mercari, which is one of our online apps where you can sell things, and I probably sold over $2,000 worth of products to different people all over the country. I've also sold some on Facebook and word of mouth. When I work at Lowe's, I made a lot of blankets for the staff there, and it's still going on. I mean, I enjoy doing it, as well as it's a small profit, and it's a way for me to learn how to do the business of keeping track of the orders and marketing and those kinds of things. Happily married. I've been married to my husband for almost 7 years. Between us, we have 14 grandchildren. I'm originally from New Hampshire, and I moved to Vermont in 2007, and I've been here since. I have a son in New Hampshire. He works for Fidelity Insurance. And I have a daughter in New Hampshire, and she's experienced in a lot of medical billing. Worked in the past years with Anthem Blue Cross. Went to school for medical assistant, and very knowledgeable. So as far as wrapping up my introduction, right now I'm currently looking to get back in the healthcare field. Preferably anything from 30 to 40 hours a week on a day shift would be good. and I'd be open to working either a Saturday or a Sunday. And also, I'm a person that has a disability, so I have to have a job where I'm able to sit and stand occasionally, dealing with some pinched nerves in my back, and I have a torn cartilage in my left knee, which eventually I'm going to have a knee replacement on. So that's my introduction. You can reach me at 802-393-3948. That's my cell. Or I'm on LinkedIn, and my email is leehaleb503@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you. Have a nice day.